You have looked at yourself in a mirror every day of your life. Getting ready in the morning, checking your hair before leaving, passing a shop window and catching your reflection for half a second. You have seen your own face more times than you can count, and every single time you assumed you were seeing the truth. You weren't. Every mirror you have ever looked into has been showing you a version of yourself with a color cast you never noticed. A slight, persistent shift toward green that is built into the physics of the object itself, not a flaw, not a manufacturing defect, not something that varies from mirror to mirror. It is structural, it is universal, and it has been there in every reflection you have ever seen. The reason has nothing to do with the lighting in your bathroom, with the angle you are standing at, or with the silver coating on the back of the glass. It goes deeper than that. It goes into the molecular composition of the material you are looking through every single time you check your appearance. And once you know what it is, you will start seeing it everywhere. Here's the thing almost nobody thinks about when they look in a mirror. You're not looking at a reflective surface. You're looking through glass first, and then at a reflective surface. A standard mirror is not just a sheet of metal you can see yourself in. It is a sandwich, a layer of glass on the front, a thin coating of reflective metal, usually aluminum or silver on the back, and a protective layer behind that to stop the metal from oxidizing and degrading over time. When light from your face enters the mirror, it passes through the glass, hits the reflective coating, bounces back, and passes through the glass again before it reaches your eyes. Every time, both directions. Through the glass twice, and the glass is not neutral. It is not a perfectly transparent, colorless medium that light passes through without being changed in any way. It is a material with a specific chemical composition, and that composition affects the light that travels through it. Standard glass, the kind used in windows, in picture frames, in the mirrors above bathroom sinks all over the world, contains iron. Not much. 15% iron oxide by weight. An amount so small that when you hold a single pane up to a bright light at a straight angle, you might not notice anything unusual. But iron oxide absorbs light. Specifically, it absorbs light at the red end of the visible spectrum. Red wavelengths enter the glass and do not come back out at the same intensity. The light that makes it through is missing some of its red content, which means it is relatively richer in green. And because the light in a mirror passes through the glass twice, once going in, once coming out, that absorption happens twice. The red loss doubles. The green shift doubles with it. The result is a reflection that is systematically shifted toward green. Every face you have seen in a standard mirror, every outfit you checked before walking out the door, every time you held something up to see its color, all of it filtered through a green tint that the glass has been quietly adding the entire time, in both directions, without your knowledge. The iron is not an accident. It is not contamination or a sign of low-quality manufacturing. It is simply what glass is made from. Glass is produced primarily from silica sand. Silicon dioxide combined with other compounds like soda ash and limestone that lower the melting point and make the material workable at industrial scales. The silica sand that goes into commercial glass production is not perfectly pure. It is extracted from geological deposits that contain trace amounts of iron compounds naturally mixed in with the silicon dioxide. Iron is one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust. It gets into almost everything that comes out of it. Removing that iron is technically possible. It requires selecting specific high-purity sand deposits, applying additional chemical refining and flotation separation processes, and maintaining precise controls throughout the entire production chain. All of which adds time, complexity, and significant cost to a material that most industries buy purely on price per square meter. For most applications, that cost is not justified. A window does not need to be color accurate. A picture frame does not need to transmit light with perfect neutrality. A bathroom mirror does not need to show you your exact color, because the person looking into it has no reference point. They have never seen themselves without the green shift, so they have no way of knowing it is there. You cannot miss a color correction you have been receiving every day since you were old enough to stand in front of a mirror. The iron stays in. The glass stays slightly green. And billions of mirrors around the world continue showing people a version of themselves that is shifted by a measurable, quantifiable amount, and nobody asks for a refund. Here is the number that makes this concrete. 0.1%, 15%. 15 percentage points changes the color transmission of the glass, by enough to be measured precisely with a spectrophotometer. Enough that professional photographers and color graders refuse to use standard glass anywhere near a setup where color accuracy matters. Enough that art conservators specify low iron glass for museum display cases, specifically to prevent the works inside from appearing subtly wrong to visitors who paid to see them accurately. The clearest way to see it yourself requires no equipment and costs nothing. Find a mirror with a thick edge, the kind where you can see the glass from the side, not just through the front face. Look at that edge directly. The green tint that is almost invisible when you're looking through a few millimeters of glass becomes unmistakably clear when you're looking through a centimeter or more of it. The color is undeniably there. It has always been there. You just never had a reason to look at the edge before. Nobody told you to. The history of mirror making is longer and stranger than most people expect. For most of human history, mirrors did not involve glass at all. The oldest mirrors ever found are polished obsidian discs from Anatolia, dating back roughly 8,000 years. They were not transparent, they were simply dark, highly polished volcanic stone that reflected enough light to show a rough outline of a face. The reflection was dim, distorted, and nearly colorless, nothing like what we would recognize as a mirror today. Polished bronze and copper mirrors followed, used across ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, and China for thousands of years. They produced reflections that were warmer and more orange than reality, because bronze and copper absorb blue light preferentially and reflect back an image shifted toward yellow and red. For millennia, no human being who used a metal mirror was seeing their accurate color either. They were seeing themselves tinted warm, the same way iron glass mirrors tint people green. Glass mirrors, as we recognize them, with a reflective coating bonded to the back of a transparent glass sheet, were developed in Venice in the 16th century. Venetian glassmakers on the island of Murano discovered that backing glass with a thin amalgam of tin and mercury produced a far clearer and more accurate reflection than any polished metal surface could achieve. The technique was a closely guarded state secret. Glassmakers were legally prohibited from leaving the island. The Republic of Venice understood that it had a monopoly on the clearest reflections in the world, and it used every tool available to protect that monopoly. Those early Venetian mirrors used the same iron-containing glass available at the time, but the improvement in reflective clarity over polished metal was so dramatic that the green tint went completely unnoticed. People were too astonished that they could see themselves at all, clearly, in detail, without the orange warmth of bronze, to think about what the glass might be doing to the image. The tin-mercury amalgam process remained the industry standard for nearly 3 centuries. It was replaced in the 1830s by Justus von Liebig's silver nitrate deposition method, a chemical process that deposits a thin, even layer of metallic silver directly onto glass. That process, refined and modernized, is still the foundation of how mirrors are manufactured today. The silver changed. The iron stayed. Low iron glass exists and is commercially available. It is sold under trade names like OptiWhite, Starfire, and Diamond Glass, and it costs roughly 2 to 4 times as much per square meter as standard float glass, depending on thickness and supplier. When you look into a mirror made with low iron glass for the first time, the difference is immediately visible. Not because the image looks strange or unfamiliar, but because it looks more neutral than anything you have seen before. Colors that you assumed were accurate in standard mirrors turn out to have been consistently shifted. Skin tones read differently. Whites look different. The overall image feels cleaner and more honest in a way that is difficult to describe until you step back in front of a standard mirror immediately afterward and finally see the green for what it is. Professional makeup artists, color consultants, and stylists who work in environments where getting color right actually matters use low iron mirrors as standard professional equipment, not as a luxury item, as a functional requirement, because decisions about color made in front of a green-shifted reflection produce results that do not match reality once you step outside into unfiltered daylight. The mirror in your bathroom is not showing you what you look like. It is showing you what you look like, processed through a material that has been quietly and consistently editing your reflection for as long as you have been looking at it. You have built your entire mental image of your own face based on a source that has never been accurate. A fraction of a percent of iron oxide present in every standard mirror ever made, invisible when you look through a few millimeters of glass, unmistakable when you look through the edge, responsible for the fact that almost no one alive has ever seen their true color in a reflection. First, it was polished obsidian in Anatolia, 8,000 years ago, a dark, dim shape that barely qualified as a reflection. Then it was Venetian glass in the 16th century, a revolution in clarity that still carried the iron its makers never thought to question. Today, it is the mirror above your bathroom sink, showing you a face that is technically, measurably, and consistently not quite the color it actually is. If this video changed the way you see something you look at every single day, subscribe. On this channel, the most familiar objects always turn out to be hiding something nobody told you. And the next video is going to do exactly the same thing.